We are going to do our top 15 2000s horror movies. You guys ready? Are you ready to rock?
Yes.
That wasn't a very...
Are you ready to smooth jazz?
What did I tell you about bringing the energy, brother?
I'm ready to rock.
You got to bring the energy here.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go. Does Robzilla need more insulin or less insulin before the show? That's what we need to figure out. Like
if I take more, I'll die.
Yeah, if we don't want to put him in a coma,
I'll drop down the 40.
So like we need Rob, like you need to tell him, like, Rob,
drink the rest of this Mountain Dew. No. Get your energy.
See,
up,
that's
buddy.
the thing. So it's a tough balance here, because you get too low, I'll die. You get too high, I go comatose. So,
we need Rob. We need to maybe like hold it off a little bit. Like we need him like sweating and fidgeting in his seat. Like, yeah, I want to talk about.
That's me passing out. Around the 200 where I'll get enough energy where I'm not dying. So we'll shoot.
Let's see here.
So I've said this before, I think, on the show, that like the early 2000s are like a kind of a blind spot for me on a lot of movies in general.
Really?
I just wasn't watching a lot of movies around then. That was like the end of high school, start of college, stuff going on. And I just wasn't like super big into movies at that point. New movies anyway. Maybe older movies still, but I wasn't really into like going to movies too much, unless I went with friends. I saw like plenty like Matrix or whatever stuff in the early 2000s, but I think I've seen a lot of the good ones, but there's a lot of sort of the mid-tier stuff that I'm just like, oh, I missed that. Didn't check it out in the theater and haven't checked it out till now ish.
Yeah, I feel like the 2000s might be the golden age of horror movies.
I don't know about that.
Listen, I know you're going to criticize me about that.
Yes.
There is so much good shit in the 2000s that it's just hard to not acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. And I know you're probably like the 80s, man, the 80s.
80s,
90s. 80s is classic.
Yeah, they have their great things, but man, this was a hell of a run as far as horror movies go. There was a lot of good shit coming out, and a lot of things that tested the waters as far as, horror goes, and getting gore and stuff like that to be more acceptable in the horror genre, as far as like, movies and getting that rated R instead of NC-17 and stuff like that. But there's a lot of solid flicks, man, and this is going to be hard to get at a top 15.
I do feel like we talked about it in the group chat a little bit. The early 2000s were kind of boobless in a lot of horror movies. Like nudity wasn't so big anymore.
Wasn't the 80s or 90s at this time.
Nudity is not big in horror movies anymore, regardless.
Kind of in general.
And I really miss watching a flasher and seeing some titties pop out,
Well, I feel like it's more for shock value now than more I've seen movies. And just how far they can go. And
I feel like that was the 2000s was shock factor, obviously we all know the human centipede and stuff like that.
Now it's Terrifier.
It was, it was kind of the torture porn era, Saws and
I read where
and all that.
I read where a bunch of people like threw up and shit in the new Terrifier and had to leave the movie theater. I saw like 10,
15 people walked out.
People are having like panic attacks and stuff like that. And that's my problem with Terrifier, is that some of this shit is ridiculous. Like I just can't get behind it. Like it was at the second one where he tortures that poor girl in her bedroom, and he's like breaking her arm off with his hands. Like, who the fuck can do that? Well, like, come on.
He's an entity, basically.
Whatever. Well, he can entity his way out of this ridiculous things. Right. And I know some people will hate me for that, but I don't find anything tasteful about the Terrifier series.
The thing with me too is that they're like, oh, this is a scary. No, it's not the scariest. It's shock value.
Yeah,
it's all it is. It's nothing fucking scary about it. It's a little creepy on certain things, how he looks or stares at people, but other than that, it's shock value.
All right, so who wants to go first? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I've got a Letterboxd. I've got a list going.
Do you really?
And you can. Some of these you might not want to include. Some you will. So we can run through mine real quick, and you tell me how you want to do this real quick. So here's my list. I told you guys we were talking about this, so I tried to go back and I started watching Paranormal Activities and that kind of stuff that I'd missed from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the list I'll start making a list I forgot that even came out in the 2000s. So my list here. And these aren't particularly ranked or anything. I just kind of put them in order of year. So the first one I have on here is the first Final Destination.
Well, here, just give us one. Give us one that you're picking to go into the top 15.
Well, that's what I think. I think these are all kind of top-ish.
We'll go because we have to get the top 15. So my thing is we'll go 1, 1, 1.
Okay.
And if that way you've got time to, if somebody names one off your list, you can add another one.
Okay.
Per se.
I definitely got a couple that some of these will definitely be double named, and some I don't think will. So I'll start with Final Destination first.
Okay.
Because I think that's a pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, it's
choice that everybody's
when you
probably
think
kinda
of like 2000s horror, like Final Destination ruled the 2000s. There's no doubt about that, and it's still going strong. And I think what makes that good was it was something different at the time. Like they put death as the antagonist. Like never been heard of that I know of.
I mean, you really, and trying to defeat death is what's interesting.
And I think like 4 of the Final Destination movies came out in the early aughts, but I think that first one's still kind of the best. So
James Wong did Final Destination.
He did that, and he had Saw. So he's had a good year starting.
I think that's different. James Wan, I think, was Saw.
James Wan.
Okay.
I think James Wong was people probably know that Final Destination developed from an X-Files script, and James Wan worked on X-Files.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a script they had passed on.
Yeah.
On X-Files, right? This is another freaking good show, by the way. I can't wait to see what they do with what's his face did Black Panther. He's supposedly taking that over and rebooting it.
I think I heard that.
And I hope he kind of keeps it, where it's government employees investigating the cases that nobody else wants and stuff like that. So I hope he kind of stays close to the original. All right. Do you want me to go or do you want to go, Rob? Well, I got to throw High Tension in there because at the time that was good shit, dude.
Wild.
It was a wild movie, and the twist at the end, like that. I mean, and I know the American version was nowhere near what the French version was. They cut a big scene out that really added to the anxiety you felt during that movie. And we were just talking about this. This movie is hard to find nowadays. So
I'll double check. I think I have it. I'm gonna double check. I think I have the American version.
I know. I probably have a bootleg of it here somewhere because that's what we did. We burned movies, and somehow Muzz got a hold of the French version of it, and we were like, "What the fuck? What is this?"
Right.
And we were just burning it for everybody. Like, you got to watch this movie. I'm giving you this. Watch it tonight. So I mean, it holds a high place in my, horror movie love, I guess you could say. So okay, I'm adding High Tension in here. Haute tension. That's what I always say.
Part of the French new wave extreme kind of stuff. So I a lot of that is still hard to see over here.
That fucking bookcase scene, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. That was just, I remember seeing that at the time. I'm like, this is the most brutal shit I've ever seen in my life.
Especially
this is crazy. Time, yeah. Okay, Rob, it's on you.
We're going to go with, I saw this in theaters and loved it, 28 Days Later.
Oh, classic right there, dude. Classic.
Love it.
It's also on my list. It's just,
it's so good. And that's where we got first introduced to Cillian Murphy.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's his face? He was Doctor Who in the 9th.
Oh, Eccleston. Yep.
Eccleston was the general in that. Yeah. Or sergeant, whatever the hell he was.
Yeah, that's just, that's a good zombie maybe movie. Some people like to call it a zombie movie, some don't, but whatever.
So good.
They're obviously not zombies. There's some kind of disease or some shit that goes on that they pass through blood and saliva and stuff.
I always think of there's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer's a rageaholic.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm a rageaholic. I'm hooked on Rageahol. And it always makes me think of 28 Days Later.
Look, I'm already like wanting to pop these movies in the night and watch them.
Yeah. When you're saying that, I'm like, man, I want to watch that now.
Dude, October 1st, not to cut this off, but October 1st, I fired up AMC as soon as I got off work, and I was just done for the evening.
Checked out. Don't bother me.
Like Jeepers Creepers was on there. And then, what was it? House of Wax was on there. And then there was something else I watched too that night. I forgot to plug them all in, but it was just like 2000s horror that whole night. I was like, this is awesome. All right.
Read my mind.
Back to PBS.
See, let's go with, since I don't know if either of you will pick this, I will say Session 9.
Session 9. No, I've not seen it.
I still haven't watched that. That's like I'm watching.
You're missing out. This is
this is one that's hard to come by, though, isn't it?
I thought it was on Netflix. Was it before?
Well, let me plug it.
I
I have the Scream Factory Blu-ray.
I have the Scream Factory
and
Blu-ray.
What do you have?
It is. You can rent it, but I don't see it streaming anywhere particular. at least on my Letterboxd.
What's Session 9 about exactly? I see it's on a lot of people's lists.
So it's from 2001. So it's like there's this old asylum, and these guys basically have to go in and like clean out asbestos.
Okay.
Asbestos tiles, or whatever, because they want to either reuse the build. I can't remember if they want to reuse the building or tear it down, but either way, they have to get rid of the asbestos first.
Okay.
And some strange things happened in this asylum in the past, because that's what happens. And the idea is, as these guys are cleaning it, they start hearing voices and seeing things, and it's all it's kind of hard to explain. You just kind of have to see it, and I definitely recommend it if you haven't. It's definitely a little kind of slow burn, creepy kind of movie.
You look at the movie and you just like, that looks like a slow movie when you read the synopsis and the art, obviously.
And it was like, I think it was like an independent movie, so it's kind of got that vibe to it. It's definitely worth checking out.
All right, so is it back to me now?
Yes, sir.
Rob might hate me for this, but I'm gonna do it. Wreck.
That's on my list also.
Yeah, I mean, you got to throw Wreck in there. Like,
I have Wreck 1 and 2. I feel like that's the best.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying, like, that's the best movie back to back.
I feel like Wreck and Wreck 2 are just one giant movie.
It is.
I mean, pretty much the second one picks right up from the first, but the way they shot that movie was so groundbreaking, and like the sounds they get in that abandoned apartment building or whatever they're shooting in, like you can't replicate some of that stuff, what they did. No. And it's a phenomenal movie. Now,
I'm not really a found footage person either. I've said that before.
Neither am I. I find them to be annoying.
This is one of those ones that's like, oh, okay.
That's honestly, that's one of the best like found footage movies that's ever been made.
All right, Rob, you ready?
Yeah, we're gonna go with, since you took that one.
That's why I wanted us to go.
It's almost like I'm playing fantasy football here. With 2000.
Yeah.
We're drafting here.
I'm like, God damn it.
Because I figured we'd have some that are the same.
Yeah,
but we got to get to the 15.
I'm gonna have to go Saw.
Saw?
Saw is on my list.
Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing that in movie theaters, and it was something new, something different. It was just kind of shocking at that time too.
And that's James Wan.
Not
Wong.
I sound more of a racist when I said that, so I apologize. Fucking bigot.
Okay.
Okay.
This is another one where at least a couple of them, maybe all of them, came out in the aughts, right?
It's all 2, 3. I think 2, 3, and 4 came out by 2010.
But I think the first one is still kind of the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
First one's the best.
And I mean, that spawned, they were chucking out Saws every year. I remember there for a while, I was going to see Saw on Halloween.
And it was almost every year.
Yeah.
Because you're waiting for, like, oh yeah, Saw 2's coming out this year or whatever. I think they said they shot that in like 30 days, less than 30 days. The first movie.
Yeah, it was something crazy like that.
It had Danny Glover in it.
He was too old for this.
He's too old for his shit.
Okay, so it's back to PBS.
All right. So let's go with. I'm gonna pick this one. I don't know if I consider it horror or slightly horror adjacent, but it is maybe my favorite movie in general of this time period. I'm gonna pick Donnie Darko.
Okay, I would not think Donnie Darko is a horror movie, but
it's like I say, I think it's maybe more horror adjacent.
Yeah,
because you got like Frank the Bunny and his mask and all this kind of weird.
I always felt like Donnie Darko was more of a sci-fi.
It kind of is
drama thriller.
Yeah, and like I say, I think it's hard to genreify in a way. It's kind of like a cult classic. I do think it's horror adjacent. I think it's one I'd put on my list if I was making it just mine.
Well, it's not just your list, so, but you're more than welcome to put it in here. 2001. Wow. I wonder why that's not adding to the list. Okay. Donnie. Okay, there it goes. It showed up. Showed up a little late. Okay, so we'll just X this one out. Okay, so is it back to me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, man, there's just so much good shit to pick from. This might piss Rob off again.
Go ahead.
30 Days a Night.
Cocksucker.
That is not. I need to rewatch that one. I haven't seen that one since the theater. I need to rewatch.
Like,
that one.
even if you're not into it, the cinematography is phenomenal. That movie.
Well, I mean,
we need to get you guys a shirt that says the cinematography
is phenomenal.
I mean, visuals will make a movie for you, even if it's shitty. But I mean, can you go wrong with Josh Hartnett?
Right.
No.
Can you
Like,
go
fighting
wrong with the
vampires
guy?
At that time, yeah.
Fighting vampires in Alaska or whatever.
That might be like my favorite vampire movie of all time.
That's up there.
I mean, it's the kills are brutal and it's got that survivalism to it.
It's
And
super intense too.
yeah, the ending is so beautiful.
God, there's no God.
Yeah.
Rob's favorite quote.
It is.
Yeah.
And we actually watched over my house. We watched the sequel.
We
to
watched
it.
the sequel, dude. It
Fucking
was
awful.
so bad, dude. It's so bad. All right, is it on you, Rob?
Yeah, it's on me. So I'm gonna go with The Descent.
On my list as well.
It's so
I-
that is so intense and fucking scary at that time.
I wanted to pick that, but I was like, I gotta upset Rob here.
Nicole's upset me more. Yeah, I remember seeing that, and it's just, especially if you're not a person who likes dark, tight areas, that's really just gonna make you.
Dude, The Descent might be like one of the most perfect movies ever made. Like not just horror movie, but perfect movie. Like that is a true on survivalist movie. Like the end where she comes out of it and she's breathing fresh air, and you feel the accomplishment that she has.
Yeah,
But they did a really good job on it, and it's not like that movie had a giant budget or anything.
Right.
I mean, they're literally in a cave and somebody's in costumes, pretending to be creatures or whatever. But not literally, but the actors. But it's a great movie, man. And I mean, that's a movie that when it's on, you stop and watch it.
Yeah.
That's one of those ones that you recommend to people. Like, look, maybe you've seen this, maybe not. But if you haven't seen this one, you have to watch it.
Now, how do you feel about the sequel?
I appreciate how it kind of starts right back up into it. I do appreciate that, but I'm kind of like,
It's a
not bad,
noble effort at a
Yeah.
sequel to a movie that does not need a sequel.
Yeah.
Say if you
It does not need a sequel.
Depending on which cut of the movie you watch, there is no sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only seen the second one once, and I did mostly like it. There's a I don't know if
I've only seen the theatrical version of the Descent, so
you
I've
haven't
seen,
you haven't
I've
seen
seen.
I wanna
I've
see
seen
the-
second one.
you have to see that's the incorrect ending on that.
Yeah.
what is there? Is there a specific name I need to look for?
Just unrated or director's cut.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because that was the one.
They probably should have.
Minor spoiler alert. In the theatrical, they wanted a more happy ending.
Yeah,
And the director didn't. That's not the director's original ending. So the
Excellent.
director's cut or whatever.
I'm all about the
Way
director's
more,
cuts.
more bleak.
But the sequel, there minor spoiler, a character turns on somebody in that one, and I really thought it was dumb, and I hated it. Not like in a good way. It's like, oh, that's stupid, and that kind of, I don't want to say it ruins the movie, but it's dumb.
Yeah.
It's other than that, it's worth a watch.
Okay, so is it on you now?
I think it's back to me. Just because this has to get in there, nobody has said it yet.
He's going to give us another sci-fi movie.
Well,
Pandora?
I should. I'll say I do have one more horror adjacent, but I'll save that till the end if you guys want to put that on there or not after we've got our 15. But I will say Shaun of the Dead has to be on there.
Of course.
Really? I was going to disclude humor ones, but I mean, it's your pick. So
I think it loves horror movies enough, even though it's a horror comedy.
it pays homage to some original.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the scene where the zombies are ripping the guts out of it. Like, it's great shit.
And you see the guy's face, he's like,
Yeah.
it's so fucking funny.
It's on there, dude. It's plugged. So, but yeah, I mean, it has its own place in horror movies, even though it's a comedy spoof of a horror movie. Like, they do a good enough job of keeping you entertained and dare I say slightly anxious in certain scenes.
I think it's horror enough and comedy enough. I need to rewatch it. I haven't watched it in a while.
That's like Tracy's one of her favorite like zombie movies ever.
I used to watch that like around Thanksgiving time every year, and I haven't watched it in a long time. Maybe I need to fire it up.
Some movies play it for like Valentine's Day.
That's funny. So is it on me now?
Yes.
Okay, let me go back here. I'm looking at my little list here. Oh man, I think I might have to pull the trigger on Rob Zombie here. No, I'm not doing that.
I'm gonna be shocked if you did, honestly.
No, I'm gonna go with the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Really good choice.
I mean, I think it's one of the best remakes that
Yeah.
are out there, and I I don't think, I've talked to people and they're like, oh, it's too far of a departure. I'm like, they're in a fucking mall still.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a great movie.
Yeah. Great cast.
Yeah, great cast. And I like the way that he slightly changed some things, like the zombies aren't slow and they fucking run after you. But I mean, the minute that movie starts,
it's on.
It's on. There's action from the minute it starts to the minute it ends.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a great movie, especially for that time. It's fairly updated as far as them getting in a mall. I mean, obviously now, if you were to do it Dawn of the Dead nowadays, it'd be like, where's all the fucking stores at? We can't survive in here.
The mall is the zombie now.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I'm going to add this in here. I think it needs to be a part of our top 15.
I am very big on this movie. I've only seen it once, and it was like kind of recently, so I wasn't super into it. I know it does have a special place for a lot of people.
Yeah, Zack Snyder did a beautiful job, and I love the original Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, it has a seal of approval, and I love it, man.
Well, I mean, still to this day, the zombie baby is still the best thing ever made. Like everybody thought it was gonna be like really hokey. It's good.
Yeah, it was
really
good. It was a good little addition they added into that. All right, Rob, it's on you.
Oh man, fucking go, bro. Let me see.
What are we up to?
So this is gonna be our fourth pick? My fourth pick, right?
We're at 11, I believe.
Okay. Let's go. I gotta do it. Dog Soldiers, one of the best werewolf movies ever made.
You gotta have it in there, brother.
When did that come out? Oh, what?
03. Let me double check.
If I could type here, I'd tell you. 2002.
Okay, yeah.
Neil Marshall.
Yep.
From The Descent. There you go.
Yeah.
2 Neil Marshalls.
That's a great movie. I just watched that the other day.
So good.
It was. I think it was October 1st. I was like, got to get it out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just got to get it out of the way. It's so good. And we got to have a werewolf movie in our top 15, right?
I love Robzilla.
Dog Soldiers. It's just so fucking sad that this movie was made 20 years ago?
Yeah.
22 years ago, and they haven't made a werewolf movie that even comes close to it.
No.
There hasn't been a werewolf movie that's come close to it in that time period.
There's been a couple it's getting close, but it's still like late.
No, it's still not scratching that itch. If you're a werewolf fan, there's nothing scratching that itch. I mean, you've had late phases and stuff like that. And listen, I'm not a fan of ginger snaps. I know a lot of people love ginger snaps.
Okay. I don't think I'm like raving about
it's okay, but it's nothing that is. I would shrine it in the top 5 of werewolf movies or anything like that. But Dog Soldiers rightfully has a place here.
There's no more spoon.
Man, this is turning out to be a weird little list here. So it's back to you, PBS. This is your last pick, I believe.
Well, since it's my last,
you got to put one on here that you love.
I'm going to put one that I think you'll agree. One of my favorite Stephen King adaptations, The Mist.
Oh, yeah,
That's
dude.
From 2007.
I was going to say, we got to work The Mist in here somehow. And that movie is just criminally underrated. It's like nobody knows about it. Because
it really is. It's one of my favorite Stephen King movies.
What's his face in there? Thomas Jane. Oh, he's so good.
He was killing it around that time.
Yeah, Thomas Jane was racking it up.
Yeah.
And that's another dude who's just underrated as an actor.
Yeah.
Like, I really wish he would have a lot more solid work.
He was in a more recent Stephen King adaptation, like 19 something.
Like 1922.
Yeah.
Where he does the voice and he slams a little, where he lays it on a little too thick.
Lays it on a little too thick.
He's seems to be quite a character in real life. I've heard him on some podcasts, do interviews, kind of talking about Stephen King related stuff, and he's
man,
he's out there a little bit, kind of cool.
I'm so torn because I don't know which direction I want to go with this being my last pick. Like, I'm deciding between Wrong Turn and Drag Me to Hell.
Never seen Wrong Turn.
What? Wrong Turn is so good.
I was looking for that one. I don't think
the
it was
old
streaming
one.
anymore.
Well, of course, the 2000 one.
The original.
I never watched the new one.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was looking for that.
Hey, an hour and 25 minutes. It's right up your alley, dude.
Is it like, what's her name? Eliza Duku?
Yeah, Eliza Dushku.
Yeah, I love
her. I think, with it being my last pick, I'm gonna go Drag Me to Hell.
I haven't seen that one in a long time. I need to
It's been a
rewatch
long
that one.
time.
It's good, man, and it has that vibe of 2000 horrors, but it translates the Evil Dead style horror, Sam Raimi. You know, I mean, it's a good fucking movie.
I don't know if you've ever seen Allison Lohman on Twitter, who plays the lead in that movie. She's like always referencing that movie.
Oh yeah,
in her tweets. So like somebody said, like which would you rather have on you, ants or maggots or something like that? She says, I hate maggots. And it's just so if you go through her Twitter, she'd be always like kind of referencing that. It's pretty funny.
But I mean, listen, this is a movie where they do curse shit right. You know, like there's no happy ending. But Justin Long, he was great in it.
That guy should get an award for horror icon or male performances. He's always in every horror movie.
He can play the sweet, innocent guy that does nothing wrong really good, and he can play the sleazy douchebag great.
It's fantastic, right?
I mean, either way, that guy's range is just unbelievable.
Barbarian. There you go.
Maybe he is a douchebag in real life, though. I've heard some things about him being an asshole. Yeah,
that's too bad.
Yeah,
he's in Galaxy Quest, even though that's not a horror movie, but
he was great. He's great in everything.
Yeah, he is.
It's Justin Long. All right, Rob, it's on you to pick the last film.
Shit, man, it's gonna be tough. I want to pick one movie just to piss off a certain person because they hate this movie. Oh man.
You know, we don't really have I'm looking at this and there's not really like a ghost story in here, is there? Maybe Session 9?
That might be closest to like a poltergeist, maybe.
Yeah.
Sort of, kind of.
I'm a toss up between Friday the 13th remake or Trick or Treat.
You got to put Trick or Treat.
I got to put Trick or Treat.
You got to put Trick or Treat in there.
I think I meant to put Trick or Treat on my list and forget.
Yeah. I think they're making the sequel for it. I guess it's been rumored or whatever.
I think that one's been given an official kind of go ahead.
Yeah.
Let me run through a couple.
What year was that?
That was 2007.
Okay.
I think
there's a couple Trick or Treats.
Yeah, that's Trick or Treaters.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to be hard to find this one because you don't really have like it did just give you like a little thumbnail to pick from.
I think it's Trick or Treat.
I love the story with
Trick
or Treat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's a Trick or Treat and there's a Trick or Treat.
See, I love the story with Anna Paquin.
Yeah, that's it. Because I see Sam on there.
That one was like
that's a good little
twist to it.
It's not really like a anthology per se because the stories all kind of revolve around each other and they're going on at the same time.
Yeah.
But man, I'm with you. Anna Paquin's good in that. And
that's
a hell of a twist there at the end.
It is.
It's a hell of a twist.
I'm like, that's so fucking sweet. I
love the school bus segment.
Yeah, that one's good too.
I like the story of Sam and the old guy.
Yeah.
You know how Sam's constantly fucking with him and it's what's his face from Dodgeball.
Brian Cox.
So the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, I'm just wanting him to throw a wrench at Sam and be like, you can dodge a dodgeball, you can dodge this.
And I just recently watched Mindhunters. It's so weird seeing Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter. You mean
Hannibal Lecter.
You mean
Mindhunter.
Mindhunter, yeah, Mindhunter.
Manhunter.
Sorry.
Manhunter.
Yeah.
Get it right.
I don't think it's the best serial killer movie.
Well, I mean, I don't care what you think,
but it's good.
I actually had it queued up. There's that sound clip of Rick from Rick and Morty. Like, your opinion means very little to me.
Now, Manhunter, man, if you would have seen Manhunter in the theaters, what was it, the 70s when they made that? Like the 80s, you would have had your mind fucking blown away how good that was.
It set up a lot of like the way crime shows were done for a long time in movies.
That poor blind girl. She just had to fall for the creepy ass serial killer.
I did laugh my ass off though when Graham like jumps through the window, he catches him and cuts his face and throws him. I'm like, that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Let me throw a couple at you here real quick that are on my list, and if we want to add them or not, that's fine. So this is kind of a controversial one for reasons, but Jeepers Creepers. There's a reason people don't like that one, but I still feel like as a movie on its own, it really meant a lot to a lot of people at the time, and that's one I still revisit every now and again. But it's obviously got its own baggage because of the director and everything else.
Yeah, I still love the first and second one.
Yeah.
I love the second one.
This would have been a horror adjacent one, Constantine with Keanu.
Yeah, I could see you putting that one in there.
I like that one a lot. That's one I need to revisit for sure, and I'm curious if it's going to get that sequel or not.
I think it came out again that it was getting a go ahead or we're getting worked on.
There's another one called Time Crimes, which maybe we'll talk about if we do our TikToks here. But
Is there a picture of it?
That looks like that. You've probably seen.
I've been wanting to watch that.
I guess it's on Amazon Prime right now.
I have that saved, I think, somewhere.
But it's sort of like it's a little science fiction-y, like a guy sort of gets stuck in a time loop, and there's like a killer involved and all that. That's really good. It's worth checking out, even if it doesn't make our list. Grindhouse, Planet Terror and Death Proof came out. I was always more of a Planet Terror person than a Death Proof person.
Yeah,
but
Planet
I
Terror was awesome.
thought that was cool. And the one that I recently rewatched was Let the Right One In, the vampire movie.
A lot of people have that in their top 10 for 2000s horror movie. I've never seen the original. I've seen the remake, and it was decent.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I have to watch the original.
That's a good one. A quick story is it came out in, what did I just say? 08. I was a different person in 08. I didn't have a phone or Showtimes weren't online back then, so you still had to like find the newspaper.
Yeah.
So I'd heard about the movie somehow online or something, and I just happened to be at work, and I read through the newspaper like, oh, that's playing tonight at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock. So like after I get off work, I head over to what was then the Lenox and watch that with just a couple people in the audience, and that was really like that wouldn't happen today. I'm like, oh, 8 o'clock, like, nah, I'm not going to movie now. It's too late for that.
I remember seeing.
I wish I had the newspaper ads.
The Devil's Rejects just on a whim. Yeah. And like we went to one theater and it was sold out, and we were like calling another theater for times and drove all the way up to Easton and went and saw it. And we ended up running into some friends, and I was like, man, that's a good fucking movie right there. I don't know. Like I said, it's not in my top 15.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say honorable mention.
And I bet you if we took like another week to think about OO's horror movie, we'd find plenty like, oh, I forgot about that, or I haven't even seen that.
Exactly.
That's kind of what happened as I was going through them. Like, man, I still got so many to check up on, let alone ones I'd kind of forgotten about.
Yeah, like I forgot about Jennifer's Body with Megan Fox.
I was never super into that one. I know some people love that one. I need to revisit it.
I thought it was okay. What it was.
Some people were really into that one.
Yeah.
Because they want to be sucked apart by Megan Fox is the reason why that's what it is.
Man, it's not letting me save this list. I'll have to redo it later. But okay, so do you have an honorable mention?
Honorable mention. I'm gonna go. It's horror comedy, but Slither. I'm gonna go Slither.
You got to talk about Slither when you're talking.
Yeah.
Wrong Turn is definitely my honorable mention because it came down to Wrong Turn or Drag Me to Hell, and Drag Me to Hell just edges it out barely. But Wrong Turn was just such a great movie, man.
Now the first Wrong Turn, not the other 8 that came after.
I haven't even seen other than the remake. Yeah, I imagine they were. Are they at least fun, bad, or
a little bit? It's just they're kind of like that factor as well, like gore. One of them has Henry Rollins in it, which is kind of cool.
But that first Wrong Turn, dude, it was great, man. And Elijah Dushku, the scene where they're in the cabin and the whatever they are, I don't know what you would call them.
They're
inbreds. Yeah, I mean they come in, they're like sleeping. It's good, man.
I think
it's a good horror movie.
Well, the kill one too on the.
How have you not watched it?
I guess it's telling me it is on Prime, so I'm gonna have to check it out when I get it.
That's solid 2000 horror right there, and I'm ashamed that I didn't get it in there somehow. That's what he said. But yeah, I mean I'm with you on like Planet Terror. Planet Terror was great.
See, I watched it when it was the double back-to-back Grindhouse. I think the reason why I didn't like Death Proof as much because it's a slower film.
Yeah. And
Planet Terror is just pure action. So I think it was switched it would work better.
So I've got a couple more honorable mentions here before we get into the last part. Signs.
Need to revisit.
An American Psycho. None of us said American Psycho.
I've still never seen that all the way through.
What? It's a good movie.
It's good, but I liked everything else that we mentioned more than American Psycho.
All right, so real quick, let's go through here and let's see how close we got to their top 15. Number 1 on Ranker's best 2000s, 28 Days Later. It's a classic.
I don't know if I'd put it at 1, but it's good.
It's up there.
The Descent. I mean, I feel like if you're ranking, like The Descent's probably like one of the best movies.
It is.
13 Ghosts. I can't believe you didn't say that. See, look, his eyes just lit up.
God damn.
How did I forget that?
That's one I like a lot, but I don't know how good I think it is.
I'm with you. It's a fun movie to watch, but is it in a top 15 or anything like that? No, I don't
I
think
think
so.
it's a great honorable mention.
I
at
did.
least.
I probably maybe I've said. Oh, moved it down to number 4.
Yeah, moved it down.
Maybe I've said this before, but I went to see that with my dad, and my dad didn't like horror movies, but he
Yeah.
was the one like, Dad, you got to go with me. It's rated R.
Saw, man. See, Saw was great.
It's classic Saw.
Okay, The Ring, like, okay, I feel like The Ring was good, but it's not a top tier movie.
I get more of the parodies than actual.
I think it's one of those ones where it's had a big influence.
Yeah.
The influence is sort of better than the actual movie.
I can't believe I was
It was a good
waiting.
movie.
I was waiting for Rob to drop Juwan.
Oh yeah,
And he did. He never said it. Like, for the guy that loves horror movies, he just was not about picking any of them.
Juwan or Grudge. See, that movie
Yeah.
terrified me as a kid because like it's the facial expressions.
The Grudge was good.
Yeah.
I'll say The Grudge was
I
good.
still need to get into some of those. The Mist. There we go.
Yeah, The Mist, Jeepers Creepers. People are going to have our ass for not having Jeepers Creepers in this list.
Yeah, okay.
Again, it's a controversial pick. For some people, don't even like talking about it at all.
Yeah.
You know,
Because the dude's a weirdo or whatever.
well, he's a pedophile.
Yeah.
A convicted pedophile. Right.
Well, I feel like, obviously you have to judge it at the time whether you knew about that or you didn't. And it's not nobody else's fault that he's a pedophile that worked hard on that movie.
Yeah.
So I feel like you can't punish, Justin Long and everybody else that put in the work on that.
I certainly understand if people want to like boycott the movie. That's fine.
I feel like you can't just erase it from
but
history.
I do think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Of its time.
You can't erase things from history because somebody that created it is some kind of monster or something like that. I mean, listen, other people that aren't monsters worked on this and they didn't know what he was up to.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well, it's
they
like
did.
It's like our Mr. McMahon thing. Like,
Yeah.
Can we throw away our whole wrestling childhoods that we loved because Vince McMahon was a dick?
Right.
And maybe a rapist.
Okay, Dawn of the Dead, it's there, but yeah, number 8. Number 9, Final Destination. Number 10, 30 Days of Night. So we're pretty close to
Fairly close.
You got some good picks on there.
We're pretty close to what the masses would agree in the top 15. The Hills Have Eyes.
forgot about
That's
that one.
another one. I haven't seen that movie in years, but that was
Yeah.
good.
I've never seen that one.
I've never seen the original, believe it or
I've
not.
got
I've seen the
original,
ri-
but I
That's
haven't-
that's
I've
Wes
seen both.
Craven, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I gotta
it's-
watch the
it's
original
like his
eventually.
second movie.
The sequel's not bad either way either. So
We need to just have a night where we watch like 3 horror movies or
Yeah.
whatever. Wrong Turn.
there we go.
Yeah, see, man, it's good. Shaun of the Dead. So yeah, I mean, people do think it is a part of that 2000s horror. Number 14, The Strangers. Pfft, that movie was shit.
Nope.
That
I've
movie
only
was
seen
shit.
it once years ago, like 15
It's-
years ago now. I need to rewatch it.
That's all you need
it's-
to see it.
It's creepy, but I wouldn't say it's
It's not top tier horror.
No, far from
Not
it.
by any means
I
close.
would not even put it on that list.
1408 was decent, but
It was decent.
I haven't seen
it's
that
not
one.
memorable enough for me to put it in the top 15.
I think that's one of those ones I always tell myself, I want to read this. It's a short story. I want to
Yeah.
read the short story before I watch it.
I just want to see what rounds out the top 20 here. Hostel, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's another one that was
pretty
good.
That was
Yeah.
the
I've seen that one
remake
like
was really
once.
Wolf Creek was good.
I saw that one in the theater. Me and a couple people. That was
Yeah.
good.
Be
The
positive.
Others. I've never seen The Others.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
It's on a
it-
lot of
I'd
people's lists.
Seen it like a super long time ago. I don't remember it.
Criterion just put one out.
There you go. Hannibal rounds it out.
Well, actually, Hannibal's not so bad. The sequel, Hannibal Rising, was not. I haven't watched it because I don't know.
Zombieland, Orphan. Why is Trick or Treat down here so far?
Trick
These
or Treat
people
needs
are
to be up higher.
yeah, these people are fucking
There we
crazy.
go. We got it moved up to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wreck.
That
should
needs
be
to be
higher.
up.
Come on. These people don't know what they're talking about. I see a lot of people say the exorcism of Emily Rose.
So I haven't seen that one.
Well, I think it's
It's
just
good.
it's just the performance of Jennifer Carpenter.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Final Destination 2. That was good.
I feel like that's like the best back to back as well. How they tied everything to the first film.
28 weeks later was good.
Red Dragon. Wait, people are high on those series,
Yeah,
man.
that Red Dragon. I'm a Manhunter guy, so Red Dragon has to go for me.
Identity was really good.
Yeah,
need to
I
rewatch
love
that one.
Identity.
Cabin Fever. That was good.
I liked Cabin Fever when I saw it.
Frailty. That was really good.
Frailty's
I
really
think I've
good.
seen that one once.
I've seen it a couple
years ago.
times.
Yeah, that's got your boy.
That Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
I love Bill Paxton.
Yeah, and what's his face? He plays the adult version of one of the
Matthew
kids.
McConaughey.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey. Paranormal Activity. We could have gotten Paranormal Activity in there.
I didn't care for it too much.
Dude, for what they did on the budget they had, I mean, just doing
I couldn't get
shooting shit on a handy cam, like that's good.
it.
Yeah,
Dragon to Hell.
yeah. That's too far down on the list. And there's your let the right one in. All right, so That's episode 193, our first spooky season episode.